Alright, I'm in the private pilot oral exam guide. I'm in chapter 2, weather. This will be section D. This will be aviation weather forecast. What are terminal aerodrome forecasts? TAFs. Terminal aerodrome forecast is a concise statement of the expected meteorological conditions significant to aviation for a specified time period within 5 statute miles (SM) of the center of the airport's runway complex terminal. The TAFs use the same weather codes found in the meter weather reports in the following format. Types of reports: a routine forecast, a TAF, an amended forecast, a TAF AMD, or a corrected forecast, a TAF corrected, COR. ICOA station identifier, four letter station identifiers it uses. Date and time of origin, the date and the UTC for when the forecast was actually prepared, displayed in the ICAO. Valid times, the tempos, the probs are presented in days and hours, /days and hours. From groups are presented days, hour, minutes. This TAF date and time format recently changed to conform to international ICAO standards. This change provides 30-hour TAFs for 32 high-impact U.S. airports. The remainder of TAF reporting stations will continue within 24-hour forecasts. Valid period, date, and time. Valid forecast period is a 2-digit date followed by the 2-digit beginning and 2-digit ending hours in UTC. Routine TAFs are valid for 24 hours and are issued 4 times daily. At 0000 Zulu, at 0600 Zulu, at 1200 Zulu, and 1800 Zulu. Forecast. Wind visibility significant in vicinity, weather, cloud, and vertical obscuration. Non-convective low-level wind, shear, forecast change indicators, FN, tempo, and prob, PRB. Defined aviation area forecast, abbreviated as FA. This is a forecast of specified weather phenomenon covering a flight information region or other area designated by the meteorological authority. Pilots should use the area forecast in conjunction with airmets, sigmets, convective sigmets, CWAs, etc. to determine forecast en route weather and to interpolate conditions at airports that do not have a terminal aerodrome forecast, TAFs. FAs are issued 3 times daily for each of the areas in the contiguous 48 states. FAs are also issued for the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, and Hawaii and Alaska. What information is provided by an FA? Area forecasts are issued for the counter-minus US and cover the airspace between the surface and 45,000 feet AMSL. They include synopsis, a brief description of the synoptic weather affecting the FA area during the 18-hour valid period. Clouds and weathers, description of the clouds and weathers for the first 12-hour period for each state or group of states, including the cloud amount, scattered or broken or overcast for clouds with bases higher than or equal to 100 feet AGL and below flight level 18,180. Cloud bases and tops AMSL associated with the above. Precipitation, visibilities between 3 and 6 statute miles, and obstructions to visibility. Sustained surface winds 20 knots or greater. 12 to 18-hour category outlook, IFR, marginal VFR, then VFR, or VFR, including expected precipitation and or obstruction to visibility. What are in-flight aviation weather advisories? WST, WS, WA. In-flight aviation weather advisories are forecasts to advise an en-route aircraft of development of potentially hazardous weather in 3 types: the sigmet, the convective sigmet, and the airmet. Text or graphical product. All heights are referenced MSL, except in the case of ceiling, CIG, which indicate AGL. What is a convective sigmet? Convective sigmets imply severe or greater turbulence, severe icing, or low-level wind shear. They may be issued for a convective situation, which the forecaster feels is hazardous to all categories of aircraft. Convective sigmet bulletins are issued for the eastern, central, and western United States. Convective sigmets are not issued for Alaska or Hawaii. Bulletins are issued hourly at an hour plus 55 minutes. Special bulletins are issued at any time as required and updated at an hour plus 55 minutes. The text of the bulletin consists of either an observation and a forecast or just a forecast. The forecast is valid for up to 2 hours. This is a convective segment. Severe thunderstorms due to surface winds greater than or equal to 50 knots. Hail at the surface greater than or equal to 3/4 inches in diameter. Tornadoes. Embedded thunderstorms. A line of thunderstorms. Thunderstorms producing greater than or equal to heavy precipitation that affects 40% or more of the area at least 3,000 square miles. What is a segment? A WS. A segment advises of non-convective weather that is potentially hazardous to all aircraft. Segments are issued for 6 areas corresponding to the FA area. That's the aviation area forecast, the FA. The maximum forecast period is 4 hours. In the counterminus U.S., segments are issued when the following phenomenon occurred or expected to occur. Severe ice season not associated with a thunderstorm. Severe extreme turbulence or clear air turbulence not associated with thunderstorms. Dust storms and sandstorms lowering surface or in-flight visibilities to below 3 miles. And volcanic ash. What is an air mat? Number 7. Advisories of significant weather phenomenon that describe conditions at intensities lower than those which require the issuance of segments, intended for use by all pilots in the pre-flight and en route phases of flight to enhance safety. Airman information is available in 2 formats: text bulletins (WA) and graphic G airmats. They are issued on a scheduled basis every 6 hours beginning at 02:45 UTC. Unscheduled updates or corrections are issued as necessary. Each airmat includes an outlook for conditions expected after the airmat valid period. Airmat contains details about IFR, extensive mountain obscurations, turbulence, strong surface winds, icing, and freezing levels. They are issued on a scheduled basis every 6 hours, beginning at 02:45 UTC. What are the different types of airmats? There are 3 airmat types: Sierra, Tango, and Zulu. Airmat Sierra describes IFR conditions and or extensive mountain obscurations. Airmat Tango describes moderate turbulence, sustained surface winds of 30 knots or greater and or non-convective low-level wind shear. Airmat Zulu describes moderate icing and provides freezing level heights. Describe the winds and temperatures aloft forecast. Ooh, this is one I like. FB. Winds and temperatures aloft forecasts are a computer-prepared forecast of wind direction, wind speed, and temperature at specified times, altitude, and locations. They are produced 4 times daily for specified locations in the continental United States, Hawaii, Alaska, and coastal waters, and the western Pacific Ocean. Amendments are not issued to the forecast when forecasts are not issued for altitudes within 1,500 feet of location's elevation. Some of the features of winds aloft FBs are product header including date and time, observation collected, forecast valid date and time, and the time period during which the forecast is to be used. Altitudes up to 15,000 feet, reference to MSL. Altitudes at or above 15,000 feet are reference to flight levels. Temperatures indicated in degrees Celsius, 2 digits for the levels from 6,000 through 24,000 feet. Above 24,000 feet, minus sign is omitted since temperatures are always negative at those altitudes. Temperature forecasts are not issued for altitudes. Temperature forecasts are not issued for altitudes within 2,500 feet of a location's elevation. Forecasts for immediate levels are determined by interpolation. Temperature indication in degrees Celsius, 2 digits for the levels from 6,000 through 24,000 feet. Above 24,000 feet, minus sign is omitted since temperatures are always negative. D. Wind direction indicated in tens of degrees, 2 digits. With reference to true north, and wind speed is given in knots, 2 digits. Light and variable winds or wind speeds of less than 5 knots are expressed as a 99. Forecast wind speeds of 100 through 199 knots are indicated by subtracting 100 from the speed and adding 50 to the coded direction. That is weird. For example, a forecast of 250 degrees, 145 knots is encoded as 7545. Forecast winds of 200 knots or greater are indicated as a forecast speed of 199 knots. For example, 7799 is decoded as 270 degrees at 199 knots or greater. Driving on that one. Number 10. What valuable information can be determined from winds and temperatures aloft? Most favorable altitude based on winds and direction of flight. Areas of possible icing by noting air temperatures of plus 2 degrees Celsius to negative 20 degrees Celsius. Temperature inversions. Turbulence by observing abrupt changes in wind direction and speed at different altitudes. What are center weather advisories, CWAs? A center weather advisory is an aviation warning for use by air crews to anticipate and avoid adverse weather conditions in the en route and terminal environments. The CWA is not a flight planning product. Instead, it reflects current conditions expected at the time of issuance and or is a short-range forecast for conditions expected to begin within 2 hours of issuance. CWAs are valid for a maximum of 2 hours. If conditions are expected to continue beyond the 2-hour valid period, a statement will be included in the CWA. Alright, so we'll hold off there. That's chapter 2, weather. That's stopping on 2-20. That's section D. Alright, see ya.